The NFC North might just be the best division in the entire NFL. Today, we are going to do our positional tier list for this division. The NFC East and all AFC divisions are already live on the channel, so be sure to check those out after this video. Let's hop into it. Starting, of course, with the quarterback position, man. I don't care if it's too early. Give me Iceman Caleb Williams, man. Listen, am I early on Caleb Williams? Is this too premature? You could make that case. However, I will say this. Caleb Williams last season did things that I think maybe only Patrick Mahomes could also do in the NFL. The touchdown pass to DJ Moore versus Cleveland. The jump man throw to Rome Odunze. The touchdown pass to Cole Kmet. I don't even know if anybody else could do that. Like that Cole Kmet touchdown pass versus the Rams in that playoff game was absolutely insane. Caleb Williams can make the high-level plays of an elite quarterback. The thing that Caleb has to work on that I think we all would kind of agree with is getting the easier stuff down pat, the intermediate stuff down pat. And if he gets that at a consistent level, I think the sky is really the limit for Caleb Williams. So am I early? You could make that case, but I'm going to have Iceman there. The Packers, number 2, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, like those guys are pretty much right next to each other in my ranking. So like if you're a Jordan Love over Caleb guy, I'm not mad at it. But I'm a Caleb over Jordan guy because of the potential of the Iceman himself. But Jordan Love, I thought last season kind of had a little bit of an underrated season when it came to how good he played for the Green Bay Packers. I think it especially didn't get talked about a lot because of the Packers losing streak to end the season, but I don't really think that that was at the fault of Jordan Love himself. He was injured, he was banged up, he wasn't playing as much. But when Jordan Love was out there, he was playing to the potential that I think a lot of us have seen with Jordan Love, and some people were already at with him. But one of my biggest gripes with Jordan Love before last season was it felt like his big games always came with these turnover moments. And I felt like in the biggest spots against the best teams, and especially in playoffs, you couldn't afford to have these turnovers baked in with your quarterback. And I felt like Jordan Love figured out a way last year while he was playing to still be Jordan Love, still get the exciting plays, still get those, amazing throws off his back foot on the run, high-level lob passes where, like, you watch it and you think, for sure it's getting intercepted, and then it's just right in the breadbasket of Christian Watson. He figured out a way to get all of those while cutting down on the turnovers, and I think the playoff game versus the Bears really goes to show it. The man had 4 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions in that game. Like, they didn't win, but it was not because of Jordan Love. So I think Jordan Love has very high potential, and people were picking him to win the MVP last year. I didn't quite see it, but if the Packers, had Micah Parsons stand that season and got 12 wins, I think there would have been some more chatter about it. Trevor Lawrence was a top 5 MVP candidate last year. Like, I thought Jordan Love was better than him. And then we're going to go Goff, and then we're going to go Kyler. I still like Goff, but the thing with Goff that's pretty clear at this point in time is he needs a good offensive line. Like, when Goff has protection, he is a top 10 quarterback in football. But it's when he has protection. He has to have a clean pocket, and then with his size and height and his accuracy, he can distribute that ball around to all those Lions weapons at a pretty high level. But if conditions aren't perfect, Goff can crumble. And then Kyler Murray just has a lot to prove, man. Like, I believe in the ability of Kyler's upside. Like, we saw it all those seasons ago where, like, they started off 8-0 and he was in MVP conversations. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about these 3 established quarterbacks in the NFC North who have had, like, Pro Bowl level seasons within the last 2 to 3 years, Kyler Murray just hasn't, so he has to go for right now. The running back spot, man, we got to go Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs has a case for being the best running back in football. I'd still give the slight nod to Bijan Robinson at this time, but getting to see Jahmyr Gibbs get his own backfield this season without Montgomery, like, they got Pacheco, but, like, Pacheco is no Montgomery, right? He's just going to come in and spell Gibbs. Like, the keys to the RB room are being handed to Jahmyr Gibbs this upcoming season, and I think 20 plus rushing touchdowns is certainly on the board. 20 total touchdowns kind of feels like an inevitability. There is not a running back in the NFL today that if he's got the lane or he's in open space that I want more than Jahmyr Gibbs, because that second gear that he reaches is just outstanding at this point in time. I'll go Green Bay 2, Chicago 3, and then obviously that would put Minnesota at 4. Josh Jacobs, I'm a little concerned about his overall running back ranking because it's starting to feel like the tread on the tires is starting to add up, and we see it happen kind of quickly sometimes for these running backs. Again, I'm not saying I'm predicting it to be the case, but it's something I'm keeping an eye out for this upcoming season. However, it's still just a better spot than DeAndre Swift and Monangai or Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. And I do favor Swift and Monangai at this point in time over Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. Like, Aaron Jones is at the end, man. Like, you can't trust him to stay healthy at this point in time. Swift and Monangai, especially in that Ben Johnson offense last year, showed just an innate ability to be really, really solid, but they didn't touch the level of, when Josh Jacobs is at his best. I feel like this is like the pretty clear-cut RB rankings. Wide receivers pretty tough. I think some of you guys might get mad at me for this. I'm going Detroit over Minnesota, and I would take Jefferson over Amon-Ra. But right now, they're probably ranked 4 and 5, maybe 3 and 5 in my individual rankings. Like, they're right next to each other because of just how consistently good and productive Amon-Ra has been over the last 3 years. And then Jamison Williams and Isaac Tesla, I'm taking those two over Jordan Addison and Juwan Jennings at this point in time. It is really neck and neck close. Like, if you wanted to flip this and you wanted to go with the Vikings, I wouldn't be mad at you. But I think that the pure upside that we have seen multiple times with Jamison Williams is just far superior to the upside that we've seen out of Jordan Addison. Like, I think Addison has had some big games, but Jamison Williams has had some stretches of football where he looks like a legit wide receiver one. And some of that catch radius that Isaac Tesla has is just really, really insane, that I'm going to give the slight nod to the Lions here, especially just consistency-wise. Like, I know last year wasn't necessarily like Jefferson and Addison's fault, but I'm going to get the slight lean there. And then we'll go Chicago, followed by Green Bay. I think Rome Odunze and Luther Burden are set to become one of the league's best wide receiver duos. Burden was really, really good towards the back half of last year. Odunze, before his foot injury, was absolutely balling in the first half of last season. The Packers, we'll see what Matthew Golden turns into, former first-round pick, obviously. I like Jaden Reed. I like Christian Watson. Like, they're solid pieces. Can't really stay healthy, though. The Packers wide receiver room was a little bit of a concern for me, if I'm being completely honest. But, yeah, I'll take the Bears as the clear 3, the Packers as the clear 4. I slight lean Lions, but if you went Vikings, like, I wouldn't be mad at you for it. Tight end, things get really interesting and really close, man. I'm going to go Green Bay 1. I thought last year when Tucker Kraft was healthy, this dude looked like a top 5 tight end in the sport. Now, yes, we have to ask ourselves, how is Tucker Kraft going to bounce back from a torn ACL? I don't know, but modern medicine's been hooping lately, man. And Tucker Kraft, again, like, he really started to look like George freaking Kittle last year. Like, it was really rolling for Tucker Kraft. And if you disagree with this ranking, I would like you to, after this video, go look up some Tucker Kraft highlights from last year and then tell me if you still feel the same way. Because dude was balling at a level that we didn't really see any tight end in this division completely get to. I'm going to lean Bears over Lions, which I think might sit wrong for some people, because Sam Laporta is a dude, but the combination of Colson Loveland and Cole Kmet, to me, because of the rise that we saw from Loveland, especially in the second half of last season and where he was at in the playoffs, like, dude damn near looked like Caleb Williams' #1 target. And I believe that he is continuing to grow, and the real conversation in this division going forward is who is better, Tucker Kraft or Colson Loveland. I think that's the conversation. I thought Tucker had higher peaks last season, so I'm giving him the nod. But truth be told, if this was more predictive as where I thought these guys were going to go, by this time next year, I do think the Bears will be #1. I think Colson Loveland will be better than Tucker Kraft, but I'm going to give Tucker his flowers because as of right now, what we've seen on the field, I thought he was better. I do like Laporta, but again, like Musgrave, Kmet, and Brock Wright, like, Brock Wright's the clear 3rd tight end there to me. Laporta's the 3rd guy that I would take here. And then Hawkinson being 4th in a tight end tier list, like, positionally, like, by division, is kind of crazy, but he is falling off a little bit as he gets a little bit older. But, I know Minnesota's 4 here. I like TJ Hawkinson still, though. Like, I think he's solid. I just think this is a division of some really solid tight ends, man. Offensive line is really, really tough because this is like another division that has some good offensive lines. Oh man, I'm going to go Chicago, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota. But it doesn't feel great. If I'm being honest, it doesn't feel great. I'm going Chicago because I thought last season they were just as a unit really good, and they were a really good run blocking offensive line. I know a lot of times when we think about offensive line, it's like how do you protect your quarterback? And sure, you could argue some of it is scheme, uh, but they did lose their center. They lost Drew Dahlman this offseason. Oh, man, like this is what I'm talking about. Like each of these offensive lines, like Drew Dahlman was lost. Decker gone from the Lions. The Packers lost a tackle in Walker, I believe, and then Minnesota just couldn't stay healthy last year. But I do think like when it's healthy, it's actually kind of a decent offensive line. I mean, having the line that has Penei Sewell on it in the second, I don't know if I should flop them. I'm gonna go with this because this is just kind of where I stood with it last season, but you could really make a case here in almost any direction. Like these offensive lines, I think are all potentially top 15 in football. I will say that. Minnesota's line just did not perform last year, so I feel like putting them 4 is correct. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this how it is. I, I'm really debating swapping Detroit and Chicago, but I'm just gonna leave it how it is. Defense now, man. I'm gonna put the Packers 1, the Vikings 2. I think with when Micah Parsons was healthy last year, I thought that we saw it pretty clearly. Like this Packers defense was an elite defensive group. Now there were some changes, right? Quay Walker's out, Zaire Franklin's in. You lose a guy like Rashawn Gary. Now you're gonna be a little bit more dependent on a Lucas Van Ness to step up for sure. But I do think that overall, like you still have Xavier McKinney, you have Micah Parsons, the cornerback, room here with guys like Nixon and Valentine is really underrated in Green Bay. That I'm still going to trust the process of what they've been doing there. Losing Jeff Hafley does hurt for sure. And I thought about going Minnesota over them because of that, but this is just defensive personnel. Like this isn't really including coaching. Minnesota, I got it too. They move off of Grenard, but Dallas Turner and Van Ginkel will be your edges. They drafted Caleb Banks and Dominique Big Orange Citrus to be their interior defensive line. I thought that was really solid stuff from them. Their secondary does have a little bit of question marks, especially at the safety position, but I think Minnesota is still a really talented group. And then I'm going to go Detroit 3, Chicago 4 in terms of defensive personnel. It's really interesting because Detroit's got a lot of big names all across this defense in terms of Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, Terry Arnold you still have, who's like a big name. I don't think he's quite lived up to the expectation there. And then Chicago. The thing that I love about Chicago is their secondary now, man, with Thieneman and Kobe Bryant and Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon. Like their secondary is really good. Their defensive line to me just needs some work. Like this is a team that I still think should be all in on trying to go trade for Max Crosby. Like still today, if that happened, I think I'd almost move Chicago up 2 spots personally. But yeah, man, again, a really competitive division, but I like where I'm at here with the defense. And then coaching, man, this is where things get really dicey because this is, again, a really well coached division. And again, maybe I'm premature. I'm going Ben Johnson 1. I'm going Ben Johnson 1. And at the end of the day, I asked myself, if I needed to win a game tomorrow, which coaching staff am I taking? And the answer that I said was Ben Johnson. What Ben Johnson not only did last year, like last year we saw proof of concept, right? They won 11 games. The offense got better as the season went on. But I'm giving Ben Johnson credit for some of the peaks of that Lions offense. Like the Lions offense did not look the same last season without Ben Johnson. And you could argue like some of that was offensive line personnel being changed. And that's cool. But when they had Ben Johnson, a lot of people thought that the Lions had the best offense in football. And last year, the Bears had a no doubt top 10 offense, and you could argue by the end of the season it was peaking as a top 5 offense. So I'm going to take Ben Johnson as winning in the coaching battle here. I'm going to go Minnesota 2. Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores is a really strong combo. And then I'm going to Green Bay and then Lions. I think Dan Campbell's a little overrated because he's cool. But Matt LaFleur, Jonathan Gannon, I think that's a solid group. I don't love Drew Petzing either, by the way, as the Lions offensive coordinator. So some of I think Dan Campbell's a little overrated in terms of just because like he's Dan Campbell, bite your kneecaps, like really awesome vibes guy. But again, really strongly coached division here. But I'm gonna Lions fans are pissed right now. Ben Johnson 1, Dan Campbell 4. Uh Detroit fans, I do apologize, but I feel good about this tier list, man. I really do. So, as always, man, these are just my thoughts. The NFC North can be a bit of a controversial division to rank. So let me know, man. What do you think I got right? What do you think I got wrong in the comment section? We are always here for football debates. We are quickly closing in on 700 subscribers on the channel. So I'd really appreciate it if you're not subscribed, if you considered hitting that subscribe button. If you are subscribed, man, the thumbs up button, the best free way to support the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Peace.